Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. We start today's video with a story about HOA drama, and not the petty kind about paint colors. This is about a condo owner whose parking spot was being treated like a public lot. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. How I lawyered my HOA into actually doing their job. When I bought my condo, I made sure it came with everything I needed. My own assigned parking spot, a garage, and my unit. It's in the mortgage documents, in the CC&Rs, everywhere. That spot is mine. But apparently my neighbors think my parking space is a free-for-all. If I'm not home or if my car isn't parked there, they use it as their personal overflow lot. And if they're not parking there themselves, they're directing their friends to use it. I've come home more times than I can count to find random cars sitting in my spot like it's a public space. At first, I tried to handle it the polite way. "Hey," I said one afternoon, knocking on the neighbor's door, "just a reminder, that's my assigned spot. Could you have your guests park somewhere else?" The guy just shrugged. "If it's empty, what's the problem?" Problem, of course, is that it isn't empty. I pay for it, and I shouldn't have to park down the block just because my neighbors are too lazy to tell their guests to use visitor parking. So I started keeping a spreadsheet. Every single time someone parked there, I logged the date, time, license plate, and which neighbor's guest it was. Then I started sending that spreadsheet to the HOA every month. Their response? "We'll look into it." I asked them point blank, "What are the rules for unauthorized parking? Can we get a complaint letter sent to the offending unit? What's the process to have cars towed?" Their answer was always the same. The car has to sit in the spot for 72 consecutive hours before it can be impounded. 72 hours, which means they can park there Friday, move it Sunday night, and the clock resets. Last weekend was the breaking point. I had a visitor coming in from out of town, and sure enough, I got home to find my space occupied again. I called 3 different towing companies hoping someone would come out on a Sunday. Every single one told me the same thing. "We only impound Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I ended up having to park my guest car blocks away and walk them in. Monday morning, I called the HOA again. "This is ridiculous. I have a mortgage that explicitly includes this parking space. Your rules say no unauthorized vehicles can park there, but you won't let me put up a sign, a cone, anything to mark it. What do you expect me to do? Just sit here and hope they magically stop?" The HOA rep sounded bored. "We can't allow any signage except for sale or for rent. If you want it enforced, you'll have to wait until it's been there for 3 days. Then we can issue a notice." So I got an attorney involved. He reviewed my CC&Rs and the complex's rules and regs and confirmed what I already suspected. The HOA was doing the absolute bare minimum. "Your contract clearly states you have exclusive use of that spot," he told me. "If they won't enforce it, you have grounds for a breach of contract claim. You're paying for something they're not protecting." With his help, we drafted a letter to the HOA board. It wasn't just a complaint, it was a demand letter. It laid out every single violation, included copies of my spreadsheet, and reminded them that failure to enforce the rules is a breach of their fiduciary duty. The letter must have scared them because suddenly they were very interested in talking. Within a week, they voted to amend the towing policy. Now, unauthorized vehicles can be towed after 24 hours instead of 72, including weekends. They even sent a community-wide notice reminding everyone that assigned spaces are off limits and violations will result in immediate fines and towing at the owner's expense. The first car to get towed under the new rule was one of the repeat offenders who'd been ignoring me for months. I came home from work and saw the empty space with the faintest smear of tire marks leading toward the exit gate. And I've never smiled so hard in my life. My spot has been blissfully empty ever since. Attorney plus demand letter equals instant HOA panic. I can picture the board meeting where they read it, realized you had them dead to rights, and suddenly, "We can't change the policy," turned into, "Let's rewrite the policy and send everyone a warning." And our second story. I bought 35 houses. I'll tell it exactly as it happened without naming the state or the city. My longtime friend, I'll just call him the man, doesn't like publicity. And I'm his old buddy, so even though the story's about him, it comes from my mouth. It all began in the summer when the heat stretched the asphalt and the hard city noise suddenly stopped. He sold his apartment fortress, bought a house on a quiet neighborhood by the water, and moved in with 3 dogs. "I want to hear the creak of a porch swing," he said then, "not the crackle of stock charts." I helped with the boxes, the moving driver was sweating, the dogs were jumping around, and it felt like life finally settled, like a blanket smoothed on a tidy bed. Then the first envelope from the HOA showed up, our local homeowners association. Violation of Clause 7.2, garbage bins visible from the street on Wednesday at 2:10 p.m. 4 days later, another. You hung a wind chime that could potentially disturb neighbors after 9 p.m. Next, your firewood pallet exceeds the regulation height by 2.4 inches. I laughed. That's just ridiculous. He collected the letters in a clear folder, like butterflies in a display case. Maybe I should get a lawyer, he mused aloud. I'll knock down every fine like ping pong balls. A retirement hobby. I shrugged. Just don't get stuck in it like in sticky syrup. The neighbor 2 gates to the right completed the local landscape to perfection. Linda, about 10 years older than him, a cool bartender haircut, a voice like a cello someone forgot in the smoking area, 3 packs a day, and jokes so dirty the pink flamingos on her apron blushed. She sat on the swing, blew smoke rings, and narrated life. If the HOA tells me one more time how to hang my brooms, I'll shove that broom. Well, you get it. I'm a cultured lady. Finish the thought yourselves. We laughed because otherwise we'd have to chew on the mailbox. Fall crept up unnoticed. A week before Thanksgiving, the man's grandkids came to visit, 2 boys with sparks in their eyes and a constant hunger for adventure. The dogs ran around, the leaves swished and splashed, and everything would have been perfect if not for the squeal of tires at the bend. A black sedan slid along the shoulder, almost clipping Mabel, one of the dogs, and stopped short. The door opened, dark hair, shiny glasses, an aggressive smile. "Hey, control of the dogs, ladro," he drawled with a light Italian accent. "This is private road. The kids, they know run wherever. Capiche?" And without waiting for an answer, he slammed the door and drove off. The boys ran onto the porch, frightened. He yelled at us. He almost ran over Mabel. We ran out to the road, empty. The HOA president, a young rich kid who'd spent most of his life in Italy, when he spoke English, he dragged his vowels. When he talked business, he loved to appeal to order. He didn't work anywhere. His father worked for him, a big businessman with friends in high offices. Hobbies, golf, and sniffing powdered art. I won't name names. I don't want to distract from the moral. "Let's go," the man said quietly then. "Where?" To him. "I want to look in the eyes of the man who scares children." We found him on the golf course, neat, polished, with 2 buddies. He listened to us with lazy interest, twirled his clubs, shrugged. "And what are you going to do, old man? You can't even pay our fines, loser. Keep your dogs on a leash and lock your kids in the shed after 9, okay? We make order here." "You yelled at my grandsons," the man said calmly. "You almost hit a dog." "That won't happen." "It'll be as I say," he snapped back. "I'm the president here, and you're nobody." We drove home in silence. On the porch, the dogs pressed against the man's legs. I was already thinking about lawyers, but he said something else. "All right, if the game is about rules and votes, I'll play, but not on their field." From that evening, he became an invisible conductor. To keep a low profile, he hired several realtors from different agencies, set up a few LLCs with neutral names: Brook Lake Holdings, North Cedar LLC, M&M Ventures, after Mabel, Max, and Molly. On the neighborhood map, over 70 houses. To dissolve the HOA, you need a majority of owner votes. 36, the magic number. I'll make it in a year and a half, he calculated, an average of 2 properties a month. This isn't about cheapness, it's about people being tired of stupid letters. Linda became our human Google map. On Maple, there's a man getting his 3rd notice for the wrong shade of mailbox, says he'll drop everything and move to Arizona. He's tired. Your client. And 2 doors down, a widow who can't sleep because every week they measure her grass with a metal ruler. She's your client too. And in general, boys, if anyone else comes to measure my grass, I'll take that ruler and... Redacted by my editor's conscience. The mechanism was simple and legal. Sometimes he paid off a mortgage and took the house. Sometimes he offered a bit above market with a fast close. Sometimes he helped people move in with their kids in Florida. No one sensed a conspiracy. Someone's life just got easier. The president sometimes muttered at meetings about outside interests, but the chain of LLCs turned into a labyrinth for him. At the meetings, I sat beside the man in the back row. Agenda: increasing fines, garage door color standards, acceptable types of swings. Someone protested timidly. The president smiled thinly. "If you don't like it, the road is open. We protect property values." He pronounced the word order like he was sucking on a lozenge. Linda whispered commentary. He's got a golf club emblem instead of a heart. I suspect it's backlit. 8 months passed. The man had 21 houses. What strained his nerves wasn't a shortage of money, but a shortage of patience watching civic harmony replaced with form letters. Meanwhile, in the neighborhood chat, a video leaked. Our president on the club steps yelling at a janitor for improperly washed tiles, his voice rasping, his nose sniffling the air so zealously you'd think there were truffle trails there. Sad and funny at once, Linda concluded. A year later, already 34 properties. The last 2 were hard. Their owners were used to pain like to old rheumatism and decided that's just how it had to be. The man came without pressure. I'm not promising mountains of gold. I promise your HOA letters will stop the very day we sign. You'll get a sum that lets you sleep, and no, we'll take it tomorrow, pay the day after. The people looked at each other, and for the first time in a long while, their kitchen didn't stay silent. They agreed. The final powers of attorney lay in a thin folder. The real weight in it is like an anvil, he joked. D-Day was set for winter, exactly a year and a half from that black sedan's hard break. Saturday, the frost swallows your breath. The air in the club hall rings dry. The president, in a blazer that loves mood lighting, opens the meeting. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Agenda approved. First point, increasing fines for I request the floor. The man stands. Under the bylaws, Section 3, Paragraph 11, I submit an extraordinary motion to dissolve the HOA and void the accrued fines. The hall exhaled. Someone laughed. The president clicked a plastic gavel. No, that's not how things are done. You need a majority. You don't even have 10. Sit down. Then let's clarify representation, says the man, pulling out the folder. Brooklake Holdings, 6 properties, North Cedar LLC 9, M&M Ventures 7, and so on down the list. The secretary reads, her mouth slightly open. The president turns pale. Forgery. I demand verification. Call the agents, the notaries. We'll wait, the man replies evenly. While the phones burned hot, Linda whispered to me from the third row, when this is over, I'm hanging a neon rooster on my porch, life-sized. Let it stand as a reminder of freedom. I'm kidding. Halfway. I coughed from laughing. The calls died down, and the president, wearing the face of someone who bit a lemon crosswire, hissed, This is a plot. You bought the neighborhood. You have no right. I have the right to represent every owner who gave me power of attorney, says the man. You're the ones who taught us the rules. The vote was as short as the bell strike. For 37 against 21, the motion to dissolve passed. Next item, 2. I propose voiding all accumulated fines from previous years as disproportionate and purely formal, and that part of the sums already paid be transferred to an improvement fund. Trees, benches, a playground for kids and dogs, the man says. 4, Linda shouts, and the whole hall laughs, but hands go up sincerely. The 4s outweigh so much that the plastic gavel becomes a toy. The president braces his hand on the table. My father, he won't allow this. Tell him his son just lost to his neighbor's votes, the man replies. It's curative. In time. Linda stands, snuffs her cigarette in a portable ashtray shaped like a little shoe. An official statement, she says, with theatrical gravity. I present the ex-president with a ring of keys to everything he no longer runs. They fit nothing. But they jingle nicely. Wear them for luck. Laughter, applause. The president slams the door. Dust sprinkles from the chandelier and perhaps a crumb of former arrogance. After the meeting, we stepped outside. The frost bites, the sky's like a folding knife. People came over, thanked him, shook his hand, simply nodded. A young mom said, I was thinking of selling my house. They wrote me up for the length of my kid's chalk. I was afraid of the mailbox. Don't be afraid anymore, the man answered. Rules aren't letters. They're respect for one another. A few weeks later, a playground sprouted on the corner with a fenced dog area beside it. Mabel, Max, and Molly became local stars. People came with treats and stories. No one painted houses in acid colors, and no one stuck pink flamingos on their roofs, except Linda in her yard, but that's a separate art installation. People just let their shoulders drop. That evening, the man and I sat on the porch. The snow whispered, the dogs snored, chimney smoke rose in even columns. Remember, I say, how you wanted to hire a lawyer and troll them with paperwork? I remember, he smiles. Now I see sometimes it's better to change the stage where that paperwork gets written. Not to win the game, to rewrite the scoreboard. Did it cost a lot? A lot. but less than living in a country of stupid letters. Linda emerged from the dark with a mug of coffee and a cigarette. Coffee? And boys, I've got a new neighborhood rule: no rules. Or, fine, one, human decency. That's me speaking as a delicate diplomat. Delicate like a bulldozer in point. We laugh, she adds, and I'm hanging that neon rooster. For at least an hour a day, so it knows there's a line everyone can cross now. The line of common sense. The grandkids came back for winter break, the same winter that wrapped up our year-and-a-half marathon. They went sledding, drew on the snow with chalk on a board Linda found in the garage. Chalk outside the regulations, but there are no regulations anymore. Molly chased them, leaping with such gusto it seemed like she'd grow wings any minute. One of the boys fell into a snowbank, laughed. Mabel licked his cheek, and he declared solemnly, "I'm not afraid of letters anymore." "Good," the man grumbled and looked at me like he meant to say the game was worth the candle. We said goodbye at dusk. I drove down a quiet street where the lamppost didn't shine into windows. That was one of our new rules, too. Agreed not on paper, but with sense. In the rear view, I saw him standing in the yard, the 3 dogs taking turns leaning against his knees and calm drifting from the neighbors' chimneys. For the first time in a long while, the silence had no sting of punishment, only the scent of home. The president? They say he plays golf on another course now. Maybe the tiles there get washed differently. I don't care. I know something else. My friend took a game where the rules were written for you, not for us, and gave it back to people who just wanted to live, mow their lawns by the season, not the ruler, hang a wind chime by the weather, not a subclause, and walk their dogs so the kids wouldn't flinch at the squeal of tires. That's the story. It began in summer when he moved with 3 dogs into the quiet, and just before Thanksgiving, the mask of order cracked when one young little czar scared some children. And it ended in winter exactly a year and a half later when we dissolved the HOA, voided the fines, and turned rules into a synonym for respect. No names, no points on a map. Those who know will recognize it. Those who don't will simply breathe in their own peace and decide it's possible for them too. And they'll be right. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.